Imagine this. It's London, 1888. The year is ending. The nights are long. The fog is thick. And every shadow seems to hide something. Now imagine a killer walks these streets. A monster so cunning, so brutal, that the police, the best detectives in the world, could never catch him. He struck in the darkness. He vanished into thin air. And for over 100 years, the chilling question has remained. Who was Jack the Ripper? This is the terrifying, true story of London's most famous ghost. Chapter 1. Whitechapel's Shadow. A city on edge, our story doesn't begin in a grand palace or a fancy mansion. It begins in Whitechapel. This was a very poor part of East London. Streets were crowded, dirty, and dangerous. Many people lived in slums, struggling to find work. Women like those we're about to meet often had nowhere else to go. They lived day to day, trying to survive. Gas lamps barely lit the narrow alleys to go. They lived day to day, trying to survive. Gas lamps barely lit the narrow alleys, leaving huge, dark shadows everywhere. Poverty was everywhere. Desperation was real. It was a place where, if you screamed, maybe no one would hear you. A perfect hunting ground for a monster. And in the late summer of 1888, that monster arrived. The first victim we officially linked to the Ripper was Mary Ann Nichols, a woman fighting to survive, often called Polly. In the early hours of August 31st, her body was found in a dark alley. Her throat was brutally cut. It was a shocking, violent death. But soon, the terror escalated. Just 8 days later, on September 8th, another woman was found. Annie Chapman. Nicknamed Dark Annie, her body was mutilated in a way that showed a chilling, almost surgical skill. The police knew instantly. This wasn't just a random attack. This was the same killer, and he was getting bolder. Panic began to grip Whitechapel. Everyone was looking over their shoulder. The killer wasn't content with just murder. He wanted to play a game. He started sending letters to the police and newspapers, mocking them, taunting them. The most famous was called the Dear Boss's Letter. It used slang, insulted the police, and most chillingly, it signed off with a name that would forever be etched in terror. Jack the Ripper. Was it really the killer sending these letters, or just a cruel prankster adding to the chaos? The police didn't know, but the name stuck, and it made the monster even more terrifying. He was no longer just an unknown killer. He had a chilling identity, and he seemed to be enjoying the hunt. The horror reached its peak on September 30th. In one terrifying night, the Ripper struck twice. First, Elizabeth Stride was found dead, but it seemed the killer was interrupted. He couldn't finish his gruesome work. Just minutes later, incredibly close by, Catherine Eddowes became his next victim. Her body was brutally, horrifically mutilated. This was known as the double event. The city was known as the double event. The city was now in full panic. No one felt safe, but the Ripper wasn't done. His last known victim, Mary Jane Kelly, met the most horrifying end of all, inside her own room. The brutality was beyond anything seen before. It showed the killer's madness, his complete lack of humanity. The police were desperate. They had a monster, but no idea how to stop him. So, with all this terror, why couldn't the police catch him? They had hundreds of officers. They talked to thousands of people. But many things worked against them. First, this was 1888. No DNA evidence, no fingerprints. Forensics were almost non-existent. Second, Whitechapel was a maze. Dark, winding alleys. It was easy for a killer to hide or get away in the fog and shadows. Third, there was little trust between the poor residents and the police. Many wouldn't speak up. The clues were few and often misleading. It was like the Ripper knew the streets perfectly. He struck in moments of chaos and disappeared without a trace. It seemed like a phantom was committing these terrible acts, taunting all of London. Even though the police couldn't catch him, People have tried to solve the mystery for over a century. Thousands of names have been put forward, from everyday citizens to shocking high-profile figures. Let's look at a few of the most famous suspects. One popular suspect, especially recently, is Aaron Kosminski. He was a barber in Whitechapel. Some modern scientists claim DNA found on a victim's shawl points to him, but this DNA evidence is still debated. Is it really him? Or is it just another guess? Then there's the truly Could it have been a royal prince like Prince Albert Victor? The idea of someone so high up being a monster captivated people. But there's almost no real proof. It's more of a dark fairy tale. Other names include George Chapman, a real serial killer who murdered women later but using poison, and Walter Sickert, a famous painter whose dark art often focused on London's grim side. The problem is, for every suspect, there's always a reason why it can't be them. The evidence is never strong enough to say, case closed. And then, as suddenly as it began, the terror stopped. After Mary Jane Kelly, Jack the Ripper was never heard from again. Did he die? Did he leave London? Did he leave London? Did he get locked away for something else? We simply don't know. But the mystery of Jack the Ripper lives on. Fuels countless books, movies, countless books, movies, documentaries, and debates. Why? Because it's the ultimate whodunit. A true crime that remains perfectly unsolved. A chilling reminder that sometimes the monster truly does get away. And that question, who's he, still echoes through the dark alleys of history. Who do you think Jack the Ripper was? Do any of the suspects convince you? Share your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them and join the discussion. This is just the tip of the iceberg. To uncover every terrifying detail, every theory, and every chilling clue, watch the full video on Jack the Ripper now. Click the link this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest mysteries. You won't want to miss what we uncover next.